Come on. Are you serious? Hey, what's up? It's Luis with America's Best Restaurants, and we travel the country coast to coast to find the places where you need to eat at on a weekly basis. And today we are in northern Indiana in a place called Rochester, and we're about to see a restaurant that has globally sourced fresh food. This is Evergreen Eatery. Let's go check it out. Ruth?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. This place is amazing. When we were pulling up, I saw the big windows, kind of opens up the space. I love the brick, exposed brick and the exposed ceiling. This you did an amazing job here.
Thank you. Yes, it took us a little bit, but we got to.
But it is super warm, welcoming, but also very open. Even I love the tile, love the tables. Everything looks amazing.
Well, thank you.
This is really cool. I wasn't expecting to find this here. So when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, they should expect friendly people.
Okay.
A nice welcome and nice atmosphere with fresh food. Everything is always fresh. We make everything in-house, from the appetizers to the desserts. Even a couple of our breads we make in-house.
Okay. Well, you've checked all the boxes except the fresh food. Where's the food at?
Where's the food at?
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
It was
you
just a
came
joke.
hungry.
It was a joke. It's a joke.
Right
Okay.
here.
Wait, so you're welcoming me with scallops?
With scallops. This is
woman after my
scallops
heart.
with a saffron sauce.
Hold on, let me just make sure I heard this correctly. Did you say saffron sauce?
Saffron.
Okay,
Yes.
folks, so for those of you that don't know, saffron is really the most expensive spice that you can buy, period.
Yes.
That is the truth. Saffron? Okay. Let me see this. Oof. And I love scallops, so let's get some of this sauce. Come on. Are you serious?
Yes.
I've never. Okay. Scallops are perfect. Got that nice dense, but it's nice and delicate. Perfect crisp on both sides. I've never had a saffron sauce. I wasn't expecting to find it in northern Indiana. What?
Northern Indiana, yes. We
Oh my
we
God.
buy fresh. We do local as much as possible. And the thing is don't overdo it. So you make it simple, just a little bit of sauce to accent.
But it's great because the scallops shine by themselves, and then you add a little bit of that sauce. It's kind of got a little bit of a hollandaise type of consistency,
Yes.
but that saffron flavor is very prominent, but it's not overpowering.
Yes.
This is outstanding.
Well, thank you. That's because
And this is how we're starting the day?
this is how we're starting the day.
I love what I do. This is awesome.
You
Now-
got to try the asparagus.
Okay, let's try the asparagus. Oh, it looks like perfectly salted and everything. There we go. Yeah. Wow. That is great.
It's cooked to order as well.
That is phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. It's salted perfectly. That's one complaint that I have when it comes to vegetables. Can you just salt them, please? You know?
Exactly, right. You just need a little bit of extra.
Just a little bit.
Maybe a little butter if you need some butter on like green beans.
Yeah. No, but absolutely. You are making the dishes quote unquote simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. And
No.
you are letting them shine
Yes.
with the spices, with the saffron. Are you kidding me?
In Indiana, in small town Rochester.
In small, that is outside. I mean,
Yes.
no joke. This is a type of sauce that I would expect to find at a fine dining restaurant. No joke.
Right.
I've never seen this sauce before.
Well, good.
I love it.
That
That's
means that my
fantastic.
chef is phenomenal.
Let me think about that one. Yes. Now, is there an opportunity for me to go into the kitchen, go make a dish?
Yes. Now this is where you need to meet my sister.
Okay. Well.
So she adds a little love every time.
All right. Well, that's coming up next. All right, so we are here in the kitchen. We're here with Rita. So Rita, what are we making today?
Salmon Benedict.
Salmon Benedict. Is that a big seller here?
With our other Benedicts, it is.
Okay,
Yes,
awesome,
we
fantastic.
have-
All right, so what do we do first?
We put the muffin on the grill, butter it, and put it on the grill.
Okay. All righty.
And then we have salmon we're gonna heat up.
Okay.
And our Benedict water we're gonna turn on
Okay.
and get hot for our eggs.
All right.
And now
So-
it's just a waiting process till
How long do you cook the eggs for the Benedict?
till the water boils up.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I put them in when it's boiling, and
Uh-huh.
then it'll boil up again, and I take them out.
Okay.
That's my own system. I really don't time it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't
So
sometimes.
you just kind of keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you'll see it
That
when
makes sense.
that's got to get hot yet,
That makes
though.
sense. Now, so how long have you been cooking?
All my life.
All your life?
Yeah,
Okay.
we grew up with 12 brothers and sisters.
Oh wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Ruth is my younger
Ruth
sister.
is your sister? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but so I cooked all the time,
Okay.
but I didn't like it back then.
Didn't like it back then?
No.
You like it now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's next? So we're just waiting on the water to boil a little
Yes.
bit? Okay. All right.
And the muffin's already cooking, and
Okay.
the salmon's almost ready.
Okay. Fantastic.
But
Fantastic. We'll be right back when the water boils. All right, everybody, we're back. The water's boiling. We dropped some eggs in. Let's go ahead and plate, right?
yes,
All right. Fantastic. Oh, that looks beautiful. All right.
see how the water boils?
Yep. Oh, so now they're ready. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll turn it down.
Okay.
I'm gonna flip this other piece for our next Benedict.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All righty.
There.
Okay.
And then
This is hollandaise sauce,
yes,
right?
it's heated and ready to put on.
All right. That looks great.
And can't forget the capers.
Okay. All righty. So now comes the best part. Now I get to try it, right? All right. So let's see here. You get a little bit of the salmon. And let me turn this around right here so we can get the egg, that nice runny yolk. Oh my God, that's magic right there. Okay, so let me grab a little bit of this. Grab some egg. Hopefully I can balance all this. That's awesome. Got that nice crunch on the bun.
Yeah.
That salmon is gorgeous. Perfectly seasoned. That egg is perfect. Nice and runny, just the way you want. And that hollandaise is amazing. Oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. I'm gonna have to eat some more. Oh my God. That's phenomenal. So, all right, everybody. Well, so that was amazing. So Rita, I'm gonna go into the dining room because I know there's a couple of other items coming, right?
Yes.
What do we got?
Seafood platters
Okay.
coming.
All right. Sounds great. We'll see that on the next one. All right, everybody, we are back and we have two gigantic dishes right here. So let's get started with this one, Ruth. What do we have here?
Well, this is our seafood sampler.
This is a sampler?
This is a sampler. Yes. It has a
Okay.
salmon with teriyaki topped
Oh my God. Okay.
and tempura shrimp
Okay.
and our house-made crab cake.
Look at these giant shrimp. Are you seeing this, Austin? That crunch is absurd.
And
That
that-
shrimp is perfect. And then the crab
And the
cake?
crab cake, we make that in-house as well.
Oh, you make this in house too?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything? What else is on here?
And then it's our house-made stir fry.
Oh wow,
So
that salmon is beautiful. That teriyaki gives it that nice pop of flavor. That tempura shrimp is fantastic. It's perfectly cooked. the crunch on it, perfect density. And that crab cake is amazing. Super fresh, nice and dense. And this is the house-made stir fry?
House-made stir fry.
Okay.
And the stir fry's on the menu.
Oh my God. Wow. I would have never thought that I was gonna find this here in Northern Indiana.
Right
What?
in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Where you get fresh fish every time you come.
This is amazing. All these vegetables, the rice is cooked perfectly. You got some mushrooms, you got some red onions here. What else is in here?
There's peppers.
Okay.
And bok choy. And
That's it. It gives it a nice crunch. Yep.
Yep, the bok choy is the nice crunch. And then the bean sprouts.
This is outstanding. This is outstanding. I mean, look at that. This is a sampler. I typically see like when people call it samplers, right?
Right.
It's typically kind of like a tray. It's got some shrimp here and a couple of other things. Not like this. I would have never expected this to be a sampler. I feel like this is a whole seafood dish and then some.
Yeah.
Maybe we should call it that.
Yeah. Seafood
Right?
dish. Yeah. But it samples 3 different seafoods. So on
That
the
makes
real,
sense.
right, because this is only a half of a piece of salmon.
That makes sense.
This is only a partial order of shrimp and a partial order of crab cake. So if you get the crab cake meal, you're going to get 2 crab cakes.
Okay.
You're going to get twice as much salmon on a salmon meal.
I think this is great as an interpretation of a sampler. Because again, when we think of sampler, it's kind of like a tray. It's got this,
Yes.
kind of all separated. But this is a really, really great interpretation of it. I love it. This is fantastic.
Yes.
This is fantastic. I feel like this would be a seafood dish, but hey, I'll take it as a sampler. It's outstanding. I am going to eat all of this. I promise you that right now.
Okay.
I already know. And then, come to find out, you and I are in the kitchen having a conversation off camera, and you just kind of drop on me that you make the desserts in-house. I'm like, whoa, back up. What do you mean you make the desserts in-house? And so you go and open the fridge and you show me, oh, we make this, we make this. We have some of that sugar cream pie, which I had never heard of before.
It's the Indiana pie. It's our state pie, the sugar cream pie.
It's outstanding. So we have this ginormous, I believe that's a word. This is the 6-layer chocolate cake. You make this in-house.
We make this in-house.
Okay.
Yes.
I want you to see this. I want you to understand what is happening right now. This is my hand. I want you to see this, okay? This is bigger than my hand. Bigger than my head. Look at this. How did you start baking? Because off camera we were talking, and cooking is something I feel like it's a necessity, right? But baking is something you get an interest in, right?
Well, right. Well, it was always just part of our life. When you're raised in a large family, because there's 12 of us, you just bake and you cook, and that's all you do at home. You go from one meal to the next. So that was just part of the way we were raised. You know, an old farmer here, farm girl. So we know nothing else but that.
This should be illegal. Because oh my God, it's so beautifully decadent. The actual cake part is nice and moist and chocolatey. This icing or frosting, whatever you want to call it, I call it frosting. Oh my God, this is outstanding.
It's like rich, but not too sweet rich.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of this chocolate cake.
I'm just gonna call this a perfect chocolate cake.
Good.
Because it really is.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. Like honestly, I can see this cake being in like those big restaurants, the big chains and everything, that is created specifically for them. Because not only does it look beautiful, it's impressive because it's gigantic, but the flavor's explosive. It's unbelievable. When I get married, I want this cake in my wedding. That's what I want. I don't want this vanilla cake. No, I want this cake.
Every now and then we've had a few weddings, small weddings,
really? With
that
this?
have wanted cakes. Yes.
That's the right cake.
Yes, so
Yeah.
we make.
I love it.
We get specialty calls all the time. There's a few dishes that people really want. Our macaroni and cheese. Okay, I personally just think that should be a side dish.
Okay.
But people love our mac and cheese because we make that in-house, so it's creamy and then it's baked and just phenomenal. So people will ask us for that for their picnics or get-togethers at home.
I love it. This cake is outstanding, home run. Okay.
Good.
Now I want to get a little bit into the story.
Okay.
So this restaurant kind of sort of came about as a little bit of an accident, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
tell me the beginning, because you and I were talking off camera and you were telling me originally you're working in a factory, right? So how do you go from a factory to being a restaurant owner? and FYI, an outstanding baker, by the way, because she made this cake, okay? So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I got laid off when I was younger, and I was just young. So, you know, and this is the Midwest. So what do? You know, if you don't go to college or anything like that, you go to work in a factory, and that's just the way it was. And I got laid off, and then I got a divorce, and I was like, well, what can I do? Because if I paid for daycare, I wouldn't have any money left over.
Right.
So
you had a 1-year-old, right?
I had a 1-year-old. And I went up to Plymouth, which is a town next by, and they were hiring a cocktail server.
Okay.
And it worked beautiful. And that's how I got in the business. I was 24, 23, and my first job was cocktail serving. And I would work at 9 o'clock at night till 4 o'clock in the morning. My kiddo didn't know that I was even gone. And then I moved to Plymouth. And then I started getting a job in South Bend, which is a larger town, and then I moved to South Bend and had 2 jobs up there, and I just worked. And then my husband and I got together. He was from Grass Creek, which is a small town. So we moved back to Rochester, and I just always worked the restaurant. I just did. It was always natural. I loved the attitude of the restaurant. I loved having the beach to myself. I loved having the grocery store to myself, right? Because my days off was when everybody else was working. And then I got my social life by working, so I could always be a mom and a wife because I was home.
Right.
And I already had my social life. So they kind of got spoiled. They got spoiled with me cooking like this on a regular basis.
Oh my God. Well, so I feel like the restaurant industry gave you that therapy and refreshment after going through that struggle of divorce and everything, right? But like you said, I mean, it's a bonus because you go to the grocery store, nobody's there, so that's perfect for you, right? And then your social life in the restaurant and everything. So it was really a blessing in disguise, right?
It really was, and it was. You know, I didn't realize it until I thought, well, I've got to get out of the restaurant for a while and get a real job. You know, I'm old enough, and I got a 9-to-5 job in an office for 3 years, and I did not like it. And I was like, how in the world do people live this lifestyle? Because you're at the grocery store with everybody else, and then that interferes with your family time. Even doing laundry and cleaning house interferes with your family time, because I always did that while they were at school or work. Right? So I had all this. And I just always enjoyed this type of atmosphere, this type of lifestyle. So it's natural to me. It just is.
Well, and you mentioned something earlier to me too about your son. That you said your son told you that, Mom, it always felt like you were there.
Yeah.
And that's because the restaurant industry allowed you to do that, right?
Absolutely. I worked 2 jobs as a single mom, and 50 hours a week was nothing for me. 55, 60 hours a week was nothing. And he would be with his father when I was working those long hours, or with family. So he didn't know I wasn't there. And he would, you know, and that was always the greatest thing, because then when he was home, I was home.
Yeah.
And it might have been a Monday and a Tuesday or a Thursday, but he didn't know. You know, they're young. They don't have the same reality we have.
Right.
And so it was great.
Now, let's talk about your husband, because he was a big influence in helping you accomplish this, right?
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your husband, because he was super hands-on and everything.
My husband had the philosophy that if man made it, man can then change it.
I love that.
So yes. So just because it's made this way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. And just because it's used for this one thing doesn't mean that you necessarily have to use it
for that.
In the end, if you have a different reason to use it. So, and he was in construction, and he did some really cool places here in town that he built. He built his first house when he was 17.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. He started it at 17, and then just did his own stuff. He was an engineer in a local factory here. and then he went on to the union work and did construction, and he's done a few projects around the area. And on the side, he would always do bathrooms or people's kitchens. So when this place closed as a restaurant, my sister-in-law said something about we should all get together and do a restaurant. And Dwight said, "Why not, Ruth?" He says, you know, you're working your butt off for everybody else.
Right.
Imagine how much fun you can have if you did it for yourself, and how much, you know, with that much work that you put into somebody else's place, you could do good somewhere else. So that's kind of, this place closed. The guy thought it was going to close forever and figured nobody else would ever have it. And we went directly to him and got lucky.
That's awesome.
We got very lucky.
That's awesome. And you were able to put it together. And unfortunately, your husband passed away several years ago, right?
Yeah. In 2019, in August, he had Waldenstrom's lymphoma. So he diagnosed 8 years. So he had went through, when he was diagnosed, we did chemo and everything to get him back to regular. And in the middle of doing this, actually, he had the ceiling done, and he had went 6 months without going to the doctor, and he thought everything was going to be good.
Oh, wow.
And he had his cough back.
Oh.
So they said, okay, you have to go through stem cell. We've got to do stem cell. And he had one more beam to put in. And then this was in November, and I had to finish the sidewalk, and we didn't have heating and air in here, and the water was in here though, so I had to insulate that while he's down in Indy. And so he does that. So one day after he gets feeling better, and he's not really all himself, I come home and he's not home, and I come down here and he's up on scaffolding finishing the I-beam, the beam.
Wow.
I know, I was so mad at him. I was like, what the heck? The least you could have done was make sure somebody was here with you. You could have, you know, but that was just the way he was, you know. So he did all this. Yeah.
That's amazing. And then shortly after, COVID came.
Then COVID came.
How did you get through that? You know, with your husband passing away and then COVID, like your whole world was crumbling apart. How did you get through
You know, I really thought it was, but the nice thing was since we got this place for a steal, and we were just, you know, we were raised farmers, so you never lived above your means too much, you know. And I said, I used to tell people, God knew I needed a break and I wouldn't have taken it, so he created COVID so that I could slow down. So that really was what I would tell people. And it was like, we did do carry out, but this kind of food, you know, not too many people wanted to carry out, but enough did.
Yeah.
And I have apartments, so, and some of my staff lives in the apartment, so we were able to work together as a team and say, hey, you know, I'm not making that much money, so how about it, and you're not making that much money, so how about if you work for me in lieu of rent? And so they were really, really pleased, and it created a nice bond with me and my staff, you know, so it worked out. And then before he passed away, he wanted to buy another building in town that needed to be redone. So I was able to also work on that and get that place open.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, you know, I really appreciate you letting us into your home, because there's so much story here.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And one thing I did not ask you, where does the name come from, Evergreen Eatery?
Well, believe it or not, it's been the Evergreen since 1943.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. So you kept the name.
Kept the name.
Okay.
We're the third title owner of the place since then. There's only been two other owners. And so this place really provided. When I opened this, the very first owners' daughters all came down.
That's cool.
And because they're living all over, and they came here and they were like, you know, one of them was what had to work. She was the waitress, and it put herself through high school and everything. She waitressed all the way through. One of them was the call-in girl, and she says every Saturday or Sunday morning when that phone rang at 4 o'clock in the morning, she says, I knew it was for me. Dad made me work.
That's
you know.
funny.
So it's always been family owned.
I love it.
One of my old bosses said, the Evergreen, that's a really good name for a restaurant. So I had to look it up, okay? So Evergreen in the whole money world it's an actual definition, the evergreen of money. Okay, so the money goes up and down, the economy goes up and down. It's just like a restaurant.
Right.
It goes up and down. You have your highs and you have your lows. And I was like, wow, that is a really good name. I wonder if the first owner actually thought that deep about the name Evergreen.
Yeah.
You know, because that would be really cool if that's the way it was. But that's the way I've always thought of it. Would have never known it if one of my old bosses didn't point that out.
I always think of it as evergreen means never ending.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and it does. The flow, and it does. And it does go up and down. I mean, just like COVID took every restaurant down. And then now we're all on our rise again.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an incredible treat for me. The fact that we were able to find this kind of restaurant in Northern Indiana with just unbelievable fresh. Outstanding. I'm going to tell you right now, 1000% certified legit. I love this restaurant. Where can people find out more information about you and your restaurant?
Well, evergreeneatery.com is my website. I am on TripAdvisor, Google,
Smoke signals, Telegram.
yes, absolutely. Google and Facebook for sure. Okay. And what's the other one? Yelp. Yelp. I'm definitely on Yelp. And some of those other ones that everybody else put me on that I have no idea of. But those I pretty much keep up on. Those four.
Okay.
And a little bit on Instagram. I'm a little old for Instagram, so I'm not.
Nonsense. Well, we really appreciate it again. Look, you can find a full listing for them on americasbestrestaurants.com. I'm gonna eat this chocolate cake. Let me grab a piece here. I want to see you guys on the next one. This is insanely good.